What's up, guys? People wanted to see me do the quick 5-minute sharpening with these two implements, the DMT Coarse and the kangaroo leather Strop with a 1/2 micron diamond spray on it. This probably isn't going to be 5 minutes because not all sharpening takes 5 minutes. Plus I'm going to be talking while I'm doing it, so of course it's going to be a little bit longer than that. I have a carbon fiber Cali 3 here, Cali 3.5. ZDP 189, dull as a butter knife, no aggression whatsoever. I could literally just, it's dull. So I'm just gonna lay a quick edge on it. Of course, doesn't bite. I'm just gonna lay a quick edge on it with a DMT Coarse and using a little bit of water that has a drop of dish soap in it. Dish soap is to keep the metal from impacting into the crevices of the diamond stone, and B, it's a little bit more of a lubrication. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I deburr on the Spyderco double stuff, only the fine side. Your goal is to get a clean edge directly off of the stone. That's your main goal. You want to have a clean edge as soon as you pull off of the stone. The strop is just to refine that. But sometimes either I have a stubborn burr or I just didn't do as good of a job as I possibly could. So I had this stone quickly deburr, raise it maybe 1 or 2 degrees higher than what I sharpened at. Light pass, you're done. So I may end up having to use that, I may not. Who knows? First step in doing this is marking your edge with the black Sharpie. So that's the first thing we have to do here. And some people were asking me, and I'm sorry about the weird camera angle. I've tried to work out a way to show you what I'm actually doing and still not have the camera right directly in my way. Very difficult to do, so I hope this is good enough for you guys. But we're marking our edge with a Sharpie. Doesn't have to be clean. Tons of people ask me how I get it off. If I do that, rubbing alcohol takes it right off like that, so it doesn't matter if you get it on your blade. So you're just marking your edge, make sure it's all marked up. You want to lubricate your stone. Not a whole lot of water, doesn't take a lot. You can actually use these dry, so it doesn't matter much. This is a well-worn DMT Coarse. I would say the aggression of these diamonds are similar to what's on a 400 grit edge or wicked edge stone. So a well-worn 400 grit wicked edge stone feels about like this does. So what you want to do is on the first couple of strokes, you're just trying to see where you're at, see what your angle looks like. You can see, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, I went a little shallow, so you can see I took some of the Sharpie off on the very top of the bevel. You can see right there, right here. I took some Sharpie off the very top of the bevel. Went a little shallow, so I need to increase my angle. And this is again just trying to find where we're at. So I'm going to increase the angle, and now you can see I'm taking off the Sharpie on most of the bevel. There are some spots that have some irregularities, but I know that's our approximate angle. And I'm going to call this is probably 15 degrees per side, 16 degrees per side. So not a very obtuse angle at all. But you can see in just those passes, those few passes, I've taken almost all of the Sharpie off. There's some left at the heel, some left at the tip, as you can see. So somebody asked me how I kept the tip so sharp. When you're doing these sweeping motions, it's easy to round the tip because you can dig it in. I will actually isolate the tip and work the tip by itself. So all I'm doing is working the tip, and I'm trying to get that Sharpie worn all the way off. And to get your angle on the tip, you want to go through your full sweep and you feel where you stop at that angle, and just work the tip on its own. And you can see I've almost got all of the Sharpie off the tip. This autofocus is really shining through right now. So you can see I have a little bit of Sharpie left right there, so I need to isolate the tip a little bit more. And you want to use all parts of the stone. You don't want to wear out the center and not use the top. So now you can see I fully apexed the edge at the tip. And these DMT coarse stones work quickly. So you could see on the tip there, completely clean, no Sharpie, no nothing left. So now I need to work at the heel. I want to make sure that we get a clean edge at the heel, and that's going to be a little bit stubborn of an area. Always is for me on Spydercos. I don't know why, but the way they sharpen their knives, the heel portion always is a trouble spot. And I'm isolating the heel here. I'm kind of rocking the knife back so that I'm only hitting the heel. You want to stop and check your angle every once in a while. If you can, use long sweeping strokes. That will help you keep your angle. The quick back and forth like this takes some time to develop. It's easy to deviate your angle when you're doing quick back and forth motions like that. So now I've pretty much cleaned all of the Sharpie off this edge. And we're left with a nice clean. The heel has a little bit of irregularity there. I'll clean that up. But really I'm just trying to set the initial bevel. So you can see I have a fairly clean, have some work to do right here. I'll get to that though. So now we're going to take the Sharpie off of this side. You can see I still have Sharpie on this edge. So I'm going to undershot that. So I need to increase my angle. Increase again. Increase again. So if I have to increase my angle significantly more than I do on the other side, I know that my edge is not centered. So the edge is actually way more obtuse on one side than it is on the other. And you can see I'm finally clearing that off, but that's a much higher angle than on the other side. So I'm actually going to need to lay this angle back a little bit to even up the bevels. And don't worry about that when you first start. Just worry about getting your edges sharp. And you see my technique here. Something I want to point out. You'll run into this too, where you have you see I've cleaned the Sharpie off here, but right here the angle gets a lot more obtuse. That's just due to variances in the sharpening at the factory. Nice clean bevel here. Here it gets a little bit more obtuse. We're going to need to isolate that area and work that out. So we're just going to isolate the tip, isolate the belly. And I don't know if you guys are catching that difference in the sound. You can hear sound. When you get to a portion that you're hitting the shoulder, you'll actually hear it. It makes a definite sound, and you have a definite change in feel, what we call feedback. So feedback is very important in freehand sharpening. It's, as a matter of fact, probably one of the most important things. Without feedback, you're kind of flying blind here. And as you can see, I'm starting to clean that bevel up, starting to even out the edge. Have less Sharpie on here than I did before, but I still have a lot left. So I have a little ways to go. And I kind of suspected this was going to happen on one side or the other. And that's due to the fact that these blades were a little warped in the heat treat. So the blade actually has a pretty significant warp in it around this point. So it's going to take a minute or two to get the edge to even out at that point. And again, if you can, use long sweeping strokes. That's going to help you keep your angle consistent. Just going to try and let you hear what the stone sounds like for a little bit. Have a little bit left near the tip. Now I feel pretty good about where we're at. Haven't formed a burr yet, but we don't necessarily need to. So now we are going to try and even this up just by making really sweeping, even strokes. We're trying to even that scratch pattern out, make sure that we're not having really big variances in what our angle is on the edge. So I have what we're working with right now is, this is the first side I worked on. This is the other side. So that's kind of what we're working with right now. What's our time? 10 minutes. Need to hurry this up. So we're going to mark the edge with Sharpie again. And here's where we're going to really concentrate and make sure our angle is very consistent so that we can have a nice, clean, even bevel. That way when we pull off the stones, it's going to cut great, it's going to look great, and it's going to stay sharp. So just going to continue on. And now starts our sweeping motion. Forming a little burr in some spots, which is perfectly fine. Stone's starting to get some steel loaded up in it. That's perfectly fine as well. Good on our angles. That was too low. You heard that? That was way too low. Alright. So let's try and see where we're at with sharpness right now. So this is a coarse DMT stone, and I want to kind of make a point here. There is no need to have a really, I don't know how to describe this, a really high grit finishing stone to have sharpness. This is slicing extremely cleanly through DMT. I mean through phone book paper. Huge aggression in the edge, so it's very, very toothy, extremely toothy. So we know we've apexed our edge through the whole length because we didn't feel any catches. So what we're going to do now is really, really concentrate on our angle, and we're going to do a couple of finishing passes. We're going to clean up the scratch pattern, make it a little bit more even. Sorry, I keep going off the camera. So we're going to clean up our scratch pattern by doing a couple passes where we really concentrate on what we're doing. And inevitably somebody's going to ask me about pressure. I'm using extremely light pressure. There is no need for lots of pressure. You save the pressure for the guided systems. Sometimes they do require you to use a bit of pressure. This is all about delicate strokes. Alright, So let's see where we're at with sharpness again. Hopefully we're just a tad bit cleaner, which we are. Much cleaner actually. So we're still have a rough edge because we just came off of a coarse DMT, but as you can see, it's very, very sharp. So I do feel like we could benefit from deburring a little bit. So what I'm going to do is take this stone, I'm going to raise my angle 1 or 2 degrees, 1 pass, 2 passes. We're going to clean our edge with a little bit of water on a paper towel. I just want to get any metal that's on there off. The reason I want to do that is because I'm about to get on my kangaroo leather strop. Don't want it to be full of metal. So we're going to get our kangaroo strop, I'm going to take it and sharpen it, strop at the same angle we sharpened at, using very minimal pressure. No need for a whole lot of pressure here. Let the diamonds do the work. Actually, I can get a little bit closer, I reckon. Let the diamonds do the work. We're just trying to refine the edge. Clean it up. Get all those loose teeth off. So we're left with a very, very jagged edge that has bits of weakened metal, loose teeth, weak teeth. Want to clean those off, deposit them into the strop, and be left with a nicely apexed edge that's clean, still very aggressive, has very high cutting ability, very high edge retention, and a lot of slicing aggression. So you can see, just melts right through phone book paper. Absolutely melts through phone book paper. And it took me, even with explaining it, 17 minutes. And that's starting from a completely dull knife. Absolutely dull knife with a really uneven edge bevel. Wouldn't cut skin, period, wouldn't cut paper. And now we are good through the whole length of the edge. And just to show you what it looks like, probably not going to be the prettiest, just due to how I did this, but we're going to try and give you a good idea of what it looks like. So there's my edge bevel. You can see a little bit of imperfection right there. Not worried about grinding every bit of that out the first time. I do want to conserve steel as much as I can. Still have a little bit back here too. That will all come out. It's not necessary for you to take out every little bit at the first sharpening. It's unnecessary. It's shortening the life of your knife tremendously, and it's not going to improve cutting performance. So it's not really necessary in any way, shape, or form. And just to see if I can get some focus here. Hello. We'll try and see if, I mean, it melts right through. If I could get some focus, I could show you. But it just melts right through arm hair. I mean, it's literally like it's not even there. It's very, very, very sharp. So you can see all the hair on there. It's just, I don't want to make myself bald, but you get the point. It's extremely sharp. Definitely would whittle hair if I had one to whittle, but very easy way to make an edge. Makes a very nice looking edge. obviously makes an extremely sharp edge. So 2 implements, 3 implements if you count the Spyderco double stuff, and less than 20 minutes and you have a ridiculously sharp knife. Hand sharpen, so one of the benefits of this as well is ease of touch up. So now that I've set the bevel, if this knife got dull, which it will eventually, it would take me all of a minute to bring it back to this, because I've already set the bevel. I don't need to thin it out, don't need to true the bevel up. I just need to make it sharp again. I need to clean the apex up, which happens very, very, very quickly. So there's really no drawbacks to having an edge like this that I can see. Alright, you get the point, it's sharp. But anyway, that's it guys. A couple people wanted to see it. Hope you learned a little bit from it. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email, john@theartofsharp.org, or PM me, give me a comment, whatever. Anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.